Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to start, smack in the middle of a conversation. It's one of those that seems super simple on the surface, but wow, it just cracks open this huge philosophical divide about how we think, how we argue, and really how we even know what we think we know.
So picture the scene. A visitor from Earth offers a simple, pretty confident explanation for a local custom. It's the kind of reasoning we hear all the time, right? We do it this way because, well, that's just how it's always been done.
And then, bam! The response comes from a local teen, of all people. And it is just sharp, precise, and a totally unexpected takedown of the whole idea. See, this isn't just some casual disagreement. It's a fundamental challenge to the entire structure of the visitor's argument. And that brilliant little exchange, that's our way in today.
What we just saw, that wasn't really a debate about hats. Not at all. It was a clash between two completely different ways of thinking. The teen is basically arguing that tradition on its own explains nothing. It just throws up a wall right where a logical path should be. So he offers to build that path for us.
He takes that vague placeholder, tradition, and replaces it with a crystal-clear chain of cause and effect. He calls them gates. So the hats aren't just for show. They're a physical reminder for a rule about how you speak, and that rule exists to protect a core cultural value, family reverence. The argument goes from this fuzzy appeal to a precise, functional explanation.
And here's the crucial point. The Arreqqana are not against tradition, not even a little. They believe it's so important that it actually deserves to be understood and explained with precision, not just followed blindly. So logic isn't the enemy of tradition. It's the tool you use to really honor it.
Now, the Arreqqana have a specific name for the Earth visitors' style of thinking. They call it Opinionism. And it's not just about having an opinion. No, it's about a specific, and to them, a deeply flawed order of operations inside your own head.
The formal term, Vako-seta le Va'rumarr, literally translates to voice-first mind. What does that mean? It means the assertion, the actual speech, comes out before the idea has been properly tested. You reach a conclusion way too early, and then you use your voice to inflate its importance, often without ever going back to check if the foundation is even solid.
This brings us to a core belief of theirs about these untested opinions. They generate heat, but not light. An opinion, sure, it can kick off a debate, it can create energy, but it can't illuminate the truth or verify a claim. You could say it's the starting pistol, not the finish line.
So what does this opinionist mindset actually look like in the wild? Well, it's a worldview where just saying something confidently is treated like proof. Where being loud is mistaken for being right. The whole point of an argument becomes about winning, and any challenge to your idea feels like a personal attack. It feels like they're invalidating you, not just your point. It's like using your mind to build a fortress around yourself, instead of a bridge to someone else. And this really points to what the Arreqqana see as a fundamental mistake. The opinionist assumes their perspective is the truth. The Arreqqana, on the other hand, believe a perspective is just the way your mind happens to process information. It's the lens you're looking through, not the landscape itself.
But look, opinionism isn't the only game in town. The Arreqqana identified two other major ways of thinking, and comparing them side by side, it really makes it clear what makes each one so different.
So here's a bird's eye view of the three paradigms. At the top, you've got opinionism, which we've been talking about. Speech first, logic later, and a really high risk of social fracture. Below that, you've got empiricism, which basically flips that order. And then there's thread cognition, which starts from a completely different place, the body itself. Let's take a closer look at those last two.
First up, the empiricist mind style, or Shuzi Allen. Here, logic always leads. A claim has to pass a logical test before it's even really considered. Only then do you bring in your senses and experiences, what they call impact logs, to verify it. The conclusion? That's the very last thing to form. This approach sees the world as evidence you have to examine, not just a story you want to tell.
And then you have thread cognition, which is, wow, it's fascinatingly different. It doesn't start with logic or with speech. It starts with body logs, your gut feelings, your physiological state, those desires you don't even choose. It's a deeply internal process. Logic comes in second to try and make sense of these internal signals, and you only speak when all of these internal systems finally align. For them, a connection with another person isn't the starting point, it's the result of this internal alignment.
Okay, so understanding these technical definitions is one thing, but seeing them debated with real passion, that's where the philosophy really comes alive.
We're going to step into an amphitheater now and listen to two thinkers, Jarruwanotisjondre and Peppi, as they clash over the very soul of opinionism.
First up is Jarruwanotisjondre's, and his argument is sharp, it is severe. For him, opinionism is a complete rejection of order. It's just chaos. It's elevating personal feelings above actual truth. He doesn't just see it as immature, he sees it as a direct threat to a functioning society.
But then Peppi gets up, and she completely reframes the entire debate. This line is so powerful. She argues that opinionism isn't born from a love of chaos, but from a deep-seated fear. The certainty, the loudness, the refusal to listen, that's not aggression. It's armor against the terror of being wrong or uncertain.
And here, Peppi makes what is maybe her most crucial distinction. The problem isn't having opinions. She says that's normal, that's human. The problem is when you use your opinion not just to express yourself, but to shut down everyone else. It's when your voice is used to dominate the conversation, not contribute to it.
Now, when she's challenged on whether every opinion holds equal weight, Peppi pivots beautifully. She says no. The point isn't that every idea is equally correct, but that every single person's voice has an inherent right to be heard with respect. She shifts the whole conversation from a battle over who's right to a principle of shared dignity.
So what do we take away from this incredible debate? Well, Peppi doesn't just diagnose the problem of opinionism, she offers a clear, actionable antidote. And it has everything to do with shifting our own internal posture.
Peppi's core argument really boils down to this. A healthy opinion is just a perspective. Opinionism is when you fuse that perspective to your identity, so an attack on the idea feels like an attack on you. An opinion should be the start of a conversation. Opinionism is dead set on being the end of it.
And here's the prescription. It's not complicated, but it is challenging. First, listen. Genuinely listen. Second, ask questions, not to trap someone, but to actually understand. Third, actively seek out ideas that challenge your own. And fourth, and this is the big one, recognize that the discomfort of having your views questioned, that's not an assault, that's the feeling of growth.
And we'll end with Peppi's final, really powerful thought, which just sums it all up perfectly. That rigid defensive armor of opinionism, that whole fear-wearing certainty thing, it cannot survive in the presence of genuine curiosity. The moment you truly want to understand, rather than simply win, the entire game changes.